You alright?
Yeah, man.
And good morning to Kojo.
Good morning, Bernard. How are you?
How is Ajwa?
Ajwa is doing well.
Birthday, ne?
You deep on.
Birthday, no?
You do birthday.
Birthday.
Yeah. Yes, and she says hello to you.
Oh, man. Charlie is good, man. Happy birthday to you, Ajwa. Belatedly, though. Nathan, we want to jump into the newspapers, and we're starting with the Daily Graphic.
Yes, the Daily Graphic says, go purge yourself.
Ale?
Supreme Court orders Ayine.
So, Biani master.
Yep. COVID-19 vaccine safe, effective. FDA assures public. And there's a picture of Miss Delise
Yes.
Mimi Daku smiling.
Yes.
Kwabena Traditional Council threatens to burn down LGBTQI meeting place. And 300,000 small businesses receive government stimulus.
Now, the find-up. March 4 is the D-Day, Supreme Court to deliver final judgment on the 2020 election petition. Judges are insulted by people who know nothing about the law. This is Justice Appel. Dr. Ayine apologizes to Supreme Court. Now, let's go to other stories. ACI Pamdeti ends duty as NIA's head of corporate affairs. COVID-19 vaccines, safety, side effects, and coincidence. The Finder has a full publication on this. Free senior high school increases female enrollment in the Ashanti region. And the government must summon foreign diplomats supporting LGBTQI in Ghana.
The Daily Guide says, Mahama bounced 9-0. Judgment set for March 4. LGBT office shut down, religious bodies speak. Dr. Dominic Ayine docked for contempt. And police track SHS graduate over bullion van robbery. 5 nabbed.
It's a serious issue.
Now, the Ghanaian Times front page, ongoing election petition. Supreme Court dismisses review motion. Hands another defeat to petitioner. The ban on rosewood exports is still in force. This is the Lands Ministry. They should also add that the ban on the cutting of rosewood is also still in force, not just the exports.
Not just the export.
Ghana's COVID-19 vaccine doses land this week, and more than half of Accra's residents don't wear nose masks. This is a Ghana Health Service report.
The Daily Statesman says, March 4 is Judgment Day. Supreme Court dismisses another review application from Mahama. Ghana will tackle emerging health challenges, Foreign Minister Designate assures, and Finance and Economic Planning Minister Designate to be vetted on March 8.
Now, if you go to the Chronicle, front page, suspects in Formina Billion van robbery arrested. Last week, we discussed GC Nets and their contract issues.
Yes.
Nathan mentioned the staff.
Yes, the redundancy
package as well. It's in the news. SGS GC Net thrown out of court over severance package payments to workers. The law falls on Prophet Hosea for help. And this is about Chachu quoting a line from the book of Hosea in court yesterday.
You sow the wind and reap the whirlwind. And this is Chronicle.
Yes.
With a more tempered headline today. We have to talk about Chronicle and their front page headlines. So today they just said the law falls on Prophet Hosea.
Today's headline
for Saka.
And Saka is a biblical word. It's an old ancient word.
Yeah.
So that's a Chronicle
help,
for you.
right?
Let's wrap up quickly.
Okay, the BNFT says Benin's disregard for ECOWAS protocols hurts local firms. MPs fear baby selling syndicate could derail maternal mortality fight. And there's a feature that says restructuring of GRA domestic tax revenue division. Plus, an African boss at WTO won't solve after challenges. That's according to a trade expert.
That's very true.
Now, the new crusading guide, TTU lecturer in court for cybercrime offences. Election petition. Supreme Court throws Mahama out on review application, sets 4th March for judgment. Amenfi East rejects MCE. There's a petitioner who is commending the PIFs of the Ghana Police Service. And Bernard, this morning I was reading a report that suggests that a third of freshwater fish in the world is going extinct, and the new crusading guide has a story related. Illegal mining looms in Adansi North, Pompo River under threat.
You know what's funny? A lot of the challenges are escalating. You know, it's a big thing. Let's go to the websites and just give a few more headlines. So, citynewsroom.com, COVID vaccine to arrive in Ghana by close of week. So, it wasn't yesterday. This is Dr. Amponsa Chiano. We don't want to open the Pandora's box. Chief Justice on dismissal of Mahama's application. Meanwhile, Aine apologizes after scandalous comments against Supreme Court. And I've not run away from police investigations. This is Alhaji Yunus Hussaini, former MP for Tamale South. Now, a few other stories. Former MP boss backs calls for review of retirement age. And Pentecost churches don't use church platform to spread conspiracy theories on the COVID-19 vaccine. So that's a big one there. Now, if you go to citybusinessnews.com, listen to the Tuna Association. Only qualified people should head the fisheries ministry.
Wow.
Only qualified people should head the fisheries ministry.
Are they saying something?
No, they've just put it there quietly and they've moved on. A couple of other stories. As we said, CocoaBot will receive $190 million this week to settle cocoa farmers. And of course, we're committed to boosting local tourism amid COVID-19, according to the tourism ministry. Now, myjournalline.com, couple of stories there. I'm sorry for calling you a thief. Owusu Bempa apologizes to Ibrahim Mahama. Also, police officer arrested for shooting into crowd on Accra Tema motorway. And Ghana's first ever woman police recruit passes on. In other stories, I am gay. Fear forced me to deny it. Ghanaian journalist comes out on live TV. So, moving on to Star FM. School children starved as DC sacks school feeding caterer for former MP's wife. That's a lot of words in one headline, but it's a very serious story. Also, as we said, election petition March 4 set for the, the judgment. I just wanted to give you a few other quick headlines. When you win, the judges are right, but when you lose, this is Supreme Court justices as they dismiss review applications. This is the Ghana report with their own headline. And of course, globally, a couple of stories. 500,000 people have died from COVID-19 in the United States of America. That's 500,000 people.
500,000 people.
Guys, that's more than the whole population of Tema plus Medina and Legon all put together. 500,000 people died from COVID-19. Joe Biden gives a speech to address a somber occasion. That's the BBC lead story. CNN is talking about Supreme Court, but they are not doing election petition. They deal Trump a massive blow because they are now saying he should release his tax returns that he fought to shield from prosecutors. So he must release. Or as my people say, he must release the tax returns. So that's what's coming in there from the US. And then, of course, in Nigeria, we're told the new COVID variant detected in Nigeria, according to their NCDC. So we got that information in Ghana about 3 weeks ago. Yeah. They also have confirmed
There's
that.
There's also a report that says COVID numbers in Nigeria are underreported, and it's estimated that over 4 million people in Lagos alone got the virus.
A couple of other security stories. So in Nigeria, look, over 4,500 people have been killed in violent attacks, kidnapping and clashing in 2020, according to a report. And they also say 4,500. This is more than road accidents, just kidnappings, clashes, and attacks. And on the same page, this is the Premium Times, they're saying bandits attack Kaduna community, raise churches and houses. Problems are many. Let's start with COVID. Kojo.
Yes, Ghana's COVID-19 vaccine doses land this week. Yes. NGOs coalition calls for intensive public education. Abigail Ano writes this, and it's in the center spread. Says the Ghana Coalition of NGOs in Health is calling for intensified education and risk communication on the coronavirus disease vaccines in Ghana as we take delivery of the first doses this week. According to the coalition, this was critical to build the confidence of citizens on the efficacy of the vaccines to avail themselves for vaccination.
We actually have an interview with Dr. Amponsa Achiano on Eyewitness News where he gives more details. So the program manager of the expanded program immunization of the Ghana Health Service told Umaru Sanda Amadu that the arrival of the vaccines are delayed due to some documentation and various requests by different countries. But he confirmed that the first batch of vaccines coming in will come through the COVAX facility, which comes through UNICEF conduit. It's going to be supplied from Copenhagen, which is the supply division headquarters of UNICEF, originally manufactured in India. And he says COVAX is supplying us 20% of our population for vaccines free of charge. And then he goes on to give some other details about other vaccines expected to come in. The distribution plan is well laid out. We are looking at different groups, those who are most at risk, frontline workers, health workers, people with underlying conditions. They've also done some segmentation, and then they also give to some government officials to give public confidence. As we have been told, FDA has approved the AstraZeneca, which is the one coming from India through Copenhagen, And the Sputnik V is not Sputnik 5.
Sputnik V.
Yes, yesterday I got a few calls that please don't spoil the name of our thing. Sputnik V
Yes.
is also coming
Thank
like giddy giddy giddy.
Yes.
And then government is also considering Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson vaccines as well, Nathan.
Yeah, so I was going to take you to the FDA's angle.
Yes, please.
Page 13 of the Daily Graphic. So the FDA CEO, Mrs. Delis Mimidako, has given an assurance that the vaccines are safe and they've been put together with safety standards in mind. She said no safety standard and efficacy standards were bypassed or compromised, except that the emergency use authorization pathway allowed for expedited review for the public good. Now, she was giving this assurance when she granted an interview to the Daily Graphic, and she went on to state that the two vaccines that Ghana would be using were Covishield AstraZeneca vaccine manufactured by Serum Institute of India and Sputnik V manufactured by Generium in Russia. Now, she said the FDA, listed as a WTO Maturity Level 3 agency and a regional center of regulatory excellence, had a stable, well-functioning and integrated regulatory system to ensure availability of quality, safe and efficacious medical products, including vaccines.
Could you put the numbers in perspective, right? In Ghana, we've had 582 deaths. The United States of America has had 500,000 people dying.
Yeah.
You know, it is serious.
So
and then in terms
the
of
capacity of the Accra Sports Stadium,
like 40,000. So
40,000.
that's like, I don't know.
so if we say
So that's
it's even 50,000.
Yeah, so that's
right?
10 stadiums.
Yes. Now look at this. In the US, more than 28.1 million Americans have been infected. So some people think that because they're testing more or whatever, they're getting more cases. But still, we have, if you put all our cases together, about 80,759. They have 28 million. We have lost almost 600 people. They have lost 500,000 people. So it's a serious issue. Could you find
Anyway,
that?
there is good news for us. The EU has doubled their contribution to COVAX to 1 billion euros. And COVAX is the facility that is ensuring that middle to low income countries get access to vaccines. The EU so far has added an additional 500 million euros to the 500 million euros they contributed earlier. Germany is adding 900 million euros. They've pledged 900 million euros to this. And this new pledge brings COVAX closer to its target to deliver 1.3 billion doses for 92 low and middle income countries. So this is good news for us.
Nathan, what else do you have for
Yeah,
us?
if you go to the front page of the Daily Graphic, it says, "Go purge yourself."
Charlie?
Supreme Court orders Ayine. Now, scandalous, disappointing, and regret were some of the words that reverberated throughout the Supreme Court yesterday when the court cited a former deputy AG, Dr. Dominic Ayine, for contempt of court. Wearing a brown suit and posing a stoic demeanor, Dr. Ayine accepted his guilt.
I like the word stoic demeanor.
Yes.
It was very cool.
Yes. He accepted his guilt for scandalizing the highest court of the land and was subsequently ordered by the court to purge himself of those contemptuous comments. Quote, he should go and apologize for the harm he has caused to the legal profession and the bench, end quote. That's what the 7-member panel presided over by the Chief Justice, Justice Enin Yeboah, ordered.
The other
Now, if
main
you
issue
go
is the
to-
court case
yes,
itself.
March 4 is the D-Day. That is the Finder's main story written by the editor, Elvis Darko. He says, the Supreme Court has fixed March 4, 2021 to deliver the final judgment on the 2020 election petition trial. This follows the grant of leave to the petitioners' lawyers to file their closing addresses by close of today, February 23, 2021. The 7-member panel on February 11 ordered lawyers in the petition to file their closing addresses by February 17. Now, the lawyers of the Electoral Commission and President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo filed their respective addresses on February 11. However, counsel for former President John Dramani Mahama, Mr. Tashishi Kata, did not file his closing address. And he explained to the Supreme Court that they had filed an application for review of which they were optimistic would succeed, and same would advance their case.
Now, I like the Chronicles angle because they spoke about Chachu, and I think that for those of us who have privileged to watch the case, there's a lot to learn, even about the way the law works, the way to comport yourself in a court, how to think on your feet. And I think that all of that was on display yesterday. So let's get a few other angles to how yesterday went.
Now, the story says the lead counsel for the petitioner in the 2020 presidential election petition, Mr. Chachu Kata, a.k.a. the law, for the first time in his argument, fell on the Holy Bible to convince the law lords to allow him reopen his case. He quoted Hosea 8:7, which reads, For they have sown the wind, and they shall reap the whirlwind. It hath no stalk, the bat shall yield no meal. If so be it yield, the stranger shall swallow it up. Mr. Chachuchi Kata did not explain why he quoted the Bible to end his submission for the review of his case. Now, counsel for the first respondent, Justin Amenuvo, would, however, not let it go without response. He told the court, "My lords, my point I wish to make on that, if you permit me, is that God is a God of conscience, and God does not use court processes to elicit conscience. And therefore, you do not bring God into the courtroom to now claim that because of God, your application should be granted." And the story goes on to describe what else happened in court.
If you go to page 13 of the Daily Graphic and on page 6 of the Daily Guide, so they all have takes on this LGBTQI matter that's generating a lot of discussion. The graphic says, Kwabenya Traditional Council threatens to burn down LGBTQI meeting place. Now, there is tension is brewing in the Kwabenya community in the East Municipality of the Greater Accra region following the alleged meeting of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex members in a house there. The Kwabenya Traditional Council has therefore threatened to go after those behind the meeting and burn the house down should it establish that the alleged meeting took place in the community. The allegations that a house at Ashong, a community under the Kwabenya Traditional Council, has been hosting LGBTQI meetings, and it says LGBT office shut down. That's on page 6 of the Daily Guide. So that happened earlier. Now that same page also has the bit.
So if it's been shut down, why is somebody threatening to even burn it down? Why are they even going that direction?
So this one says, police track SHS graduate over bullion van robbery. 5 nabbed.
It was on the news this morning.
Yeah. The Ashanti Regional Police Command has arrested 5 suspects and is on the heels of a 22-year-old senior high school graduate said to be the gang leader in a robbery attack on a bullion van that led to the killing of a policeman at Adansi Nyankumaso recently. Identified as John Appiah, nicknamed Omega, the police have described him as, quote, very wicked and trigger happy, and said the key suspect had recruited and formed several deadly robbery gangs in several parts of the country to engage in high-scale robbery expeditions.
Is this the guy who shot the ambulance?
Yes. So,
or allegedly shot him?
Let me give you the Chronicles angle. It mentions more names.
Okay.
It says that Ashanti Regional Police Command has arrested 5 persons suspected to be involved in the recent robbery of a bullion van at Adansi, Nyankumaso in the Adansi North District of the Ashanti Region. COP Mr. Kwesi Mensah Duku, Ashanti Regional Commander, at a press briefing yesterday, named the suspect as Bismarck Owusu Ansa, alias Obese, 29, Azuma Titus, 23, Kofi Matthew, alias Waisa, 24, and Kojo Dako, 26. According to the regional commander, the police intelligence established the identities of the suspects and they have admitted to committing the offense. They took 500,000 Ghana cedis from a bullion van, killed the police escort in the process, and shared the booty. And the police says they have taken 53,000 from them together with.
So this is different from the ambulance one. This is the bullion van one. So I confused it. My mind was on the Eastern region one. I have a couple of quick stories for you here. This one is interesting. Only qualified people should head fisheries ministry, according to the Tuna Association. Story on Citi Business News by Michael Obodu. It says, the Ghana Tuna Association says, considering the challenges that bedevil the fisheries sector, only qualified people with ample knowledge of the space should be assigned to the sector as minister. In an interview with Citi Business News, the secretary of the association, Ristania Matthew, said the continuous implementation of appointment of people who are not up to the task are some of the reasons that account for the woes of the sector. It was a long press statement. Michael Obodu interviewed him for his take, and I think he was insinuating about the appointments committee session with Howard Kumsen. And I'm not sure he actually mentioned the name in the release, but it appears that's where the insinuation is going.
Yes. Since you've mentioned fisheries, if you'd permit me, there's a story on skynews.com which says nearly a third of fish living in rivers and lakes around the world are facing extinction as their habitats are in catastrophic decline.
Does that include the ones in tanks and fish ponds? No, read the story. I want to hear that.
You want to get the full details?
Yes, I want that
Now,
story.
the story says freshwater species, which make up more than half of the world's fish species, are central to the livelihoods of 60 million people and the diet of many others. Some 30% of 10,333 fish assessed by the IUCN red list of threatened species are at risk of extinction, according to a report from 16 organizations, including the WWF and the Zoological Society of London. Now, I'm reading this story, and I want to link it to this one from Adansi North. Pompo River under threat, illegal mining looms in Adansi North. The story says information gathered has indicated that the president's representatives at the local level who find themselves in mining areas are sabotaging and undermining the president's efforts in fighting illegal mining. Although the president has taken several efforts to fight illegal mining activities in the country to salvage the environment, water and river bodies are being polluted by illegal miners. And a visit to communities like Adansi Akrokeri, Adumenu, Adukwai, Ayase, and Bobriase established that there are illegal mining activities ongoing and the rivers are polluted. Yesterday, a friend in the Kumasi area, Mankran, so called me that he has a big farm and the Mankran River has been polluted by illegal miners. So he wants to know how he can treat the polluted river to water his farm.
Let's go on with other stories, Nathan.
On the fourth page of the Daily Statesman, there's a story from Takrady, and it says members of the Takrady Secondary branch of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union have threatened to embark on a demonstration against personnel at the Secondary Naval Base for what they describe as constant assault. The drivers maintain they have had enough of incessant assault by the uniformed personnel and will this time around protest for the president to intervene. The demonstration, which was supposed to have come off yesterday, February 22, was postponed as a result of pleas by the Naval Command. Now, the Daily Statesman gathered at the time of filing this report that some of the officers were at the union's office to talk to the executives, but their leader, popularly called Chairman Eshen, insisted the demonstration would still come off if nothing concrete came out of the meeting.
Let me take you to my journal, a couple of quick stories there. I'm sorry for calling you a thief. Owusu Bempah apologizes to Ibrahim Mahama. Story reads, the Director of Communication of the Ghana Gas Company has, by retraction and apology letter, rendered an unqualified apology to the CEO of Engineers and Planners. Ernest Owusu Bempah's apology comes after he made a defamatory comment about Ibrahim Mahama, whom he called a thief. In 2018, the business mogul sued Mr. Owusu Bempah along with the Despite group of companies, operators of UTV, for defamation. On March 3, 2018, the Ghana Gas Communication Boss made a statement on UTV's at the Chinsruma show that former President Mohammed's brother was a thief. And then they quote what he said. I don't want to repeat that. Then, of course, the man filed a suit, and he says the comments have been injurious to his hard-earned reputation. And then they went to court, and it appears now that Mr. Bempah has seen the error of his ways. And so the High Court, presided over by Her Ladyship Georgina Mensah Dacha, entered judgment in favor of Mr. Ibrahim Mahama against Owusu Bempah and Despite Group. Now, the amount, is an order directed at the first defendant, compelling him to publish in the Daily Graphic and UTV an unqualified apology, and then also to remove from the archives whatever was said, damages of 300,000 Ghana cedis, and then another cost of 10,000 cedis. In addition to other things. All right, so that's the first one. Then another quick one. Police officer arrested for shooting into crowd on Accra Tema motorway. Same website. A police officer who allegedly fired his pump action gun into a crowd of mourners and thereby injuring one person on the Accra Tema motorway has been arrested by this Legon police. District Commander Superintendent Kwame Jesia Sari said investigations are ongoing, after which the culprit will be made to face the law. And then we're basically told that on Saturday, a police officer picked a weapon from his car, fired into the crowd after he complained the mourners had crossed him. Can you imagine? According to an eyewitness account, the mourners were returning from a burial at Ashaiman when the policeman, together with two of his other colleagues driving a Toyota Land Cruiser, stopped them, claiming they were driving carelessly. He said the driver and other mourners quickly knelt down, begging for forgiveness after the man identified himself as a police officer. The eyewitness further added that the policeman, unmoved by their plea, asked them to go back, but they refused. This, he said, the officer went to his vehicle, brought out a gun, and fired shots at the group, leaving a lady unconscious. Can you imagine? This is what we call trigger happy. Happily, he was arrested by his colleagues, sent to East Legon police station. Let's hope they get to the bottom of the case and do not do a wishy-washy job.
If you go to page 3 of the BNFT, it says, Benin's disregard for ECOWAS protocols hurts local firms. Ghanaian companies have expressed great displeasure with the decision of the government of Benin to blatantly disregard the ECOWAS protocols regarding trade and charge 20% duty on products imported into the country by Anglophone states. According to the companies, even though Benin has withdrawn from the ECOWAS Trade Liberation Scheme, affording them the liberty to charge duties, the current situation where Anglophone countries are compelled to pay duties on goods they export to the country, but companies from Francophone countries can do same duty-free and quota-free. It's not only an affront on the ECOWAS protocols on free trade, but also a discriminatory act that offers an unfair advantage to competitors from Francophone nations.
Okay.
Anyway, let's go up to the BA and also to the Savlugu area, so northern region and then Bono region. The Savlugu hospital has been closed down.
Yes, after 60 people tested positive.
That story is on the back page of the Ghanaian Times. And the paper says that the Times, in a chat with some workers at the facility, revealed that more than 55 of their colleagues had tested positive for COVID-19, and they bemoaned that many of them were unwilling to go to work. Now, if you go to the Bono region, the BA file of the Chronicle, Bono region records 332 fire cases in 2020. And domestic and bushfires were the highest, that is 114 each, 41 commercial fires, 36 vehicle fires, and 7 institutional fires and 4 industrial fires. What really caught my attention is that in February last year, more than 170 farmlands were destroyed by bushfires in the Bono East region, posing a threat to the government's flagship Planting for Food and Job and Planting for Export and Rural Development.
Okay, so that would be it. If we have time for a final story. I've not run away from police investigations. Yunus Husseini. The story says former member of parliament for Tamale Central, Alhaji Yunus Husseini, says he's not running away from investigations as being suggested by the police. He was put before the Kaneshie District Court on Monday, February 22, on the basis of a court summons requested by the CID of the Ghana Police Service. Now, the police took the action, claiming that the former legislator was evading their investigation to assist them in investigations. But Yunus Husseini told Eyewitness News it was surprising the police got a notice of summons pasted on his gates as though he was trying to evade their attention. And he says he will be reporting to the police this morning. And what happened? He said something on air about the former president forming a parallel government, which the police have taken issue with, and they are going to send him to court for. Okay. Nathan, thank you very much. Kojo, thank you very much. We'll be coming back with Citi Business News. Stay with us.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.